Good morning.
Good morning.
How
Hello.
are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. This construction outside my apartment is driving me nuts. So
Oh
I really am
no.
so glad that these headphones don't take in the sound for our recordings.
Oh, let me see. Can I hear? Is it on right now? Are they doing it right now?
hmm
I don't hear it. Okay, that's good.
It's so good because I have my air conditioning still hooked up just so I have purification in my apartment because I only have my windows. And
Oh.
if you are watching on YouTube, I actually am going to show you because basically I have these side windows here.
Heroes apartment. This is incredible.
So I have these side windows and it's kind of a loft style, but there's no other window, there's no other airflow. So if I don't have my air conditioning, even though it's cold out, it's manageable, but especially with the construction out, I'm like, oh my God, I don't have any ability to isolate the noise. So
Yeah. No, exactly.
thank God I got a job, people, where I'm out of the house during the work hours now. So we're all good.
And I have to ask you,
Yes.
did you just roll out of bed?
Can't you tell by my low resolution camera and my eyes?
No, but here, I think that this is is this like a Jewish trait?
What?
Circles under the eyes?
Probably all that intergenerational trauma.
Oh no.
Oh, that PTSD.
Cute. Your hair is cute, even though it's kind of bedheady, but it's cute. I like it.
Well, thank you. That's why I keep it short, so it's effortless.
Yeah, and I decided to wear a little bit of color for our guest.
Yes, absolutely.
Spandy.
I know. I was thinking, what kind of spandex or lycra do I have? And I'm thinking, you know what? I'm colorful enough, so we'll let Spandy bring the color.
Love it.
Yes.
Yes.
Please talk about Spandy.
I will.
I have a couple memories of him from watching him on Dance Canada and from seeing him performing all over downtown Vancouver at
and I kind of want to leave it a little bit to when he hops on because I feel like especially because how he and I first met. So I'll just say, because I'd like to actually explain that story or talk about it with him, because I'd like to get his take on also meeting myself and what that whole experience was like. Not that I'm this phenomenal experience to meet, but the situation, the circumstances.
You really are.
Quiet, yeah. The circumstances were quite phenomenal because I'll just say we both actually were in Israel. So that's how we met. And that's all I will say. And I'll explain the rest when he hops on. So I feel like I'm doing the Alexis thing from Schitt's Creek. I just started to
oh yeah. Play with my hair. I'll play with my headphone cords. And then, the beard is starting to grow back a little bit. So I can kind of
that. I like it.
Like trichotillomania style where you pull the eyelashes out of your eyes.
What?
You haven't heard of trichotillomania?
No, what is this? Is this some young thing?
Not to my knowledge, no. It's I don't know if it's just your eyelashes, but it's basically a nervous twitch where you pull your eyelashes out.
Yes, and honestly, I didn't know what the actual terminology of. Yes, I've heard of it. I didn't know what the terminology was. So.
Hashtag trichotillomania.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, I know.
That's horrible.
It is horrible. I feel very, very bad for those that are in those situations because I've got my own tics, but that's
don't we all?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And so I mean, back to Spandy for a second. I'll take it off that sort of depressing note. You got to make fun of our tics, though, right? Like we all have something. No, so Spandy Andy. I mean, I'd like to. Yes, so we have Spandy Andy on. There's there's so much I want to say, but I do want to leave it until he hops on. But the short of the long of it is, if that's what you can say, is he is a very colorful, as in what he wears, and he calls himself, he has this hashtag of tight and bright. So he is tight and bright, and he is a performer, predominantly a street performer, I believe. And this is what I want to talk to him about because it's been a number of years since we've actually had a very full-blown conversation, he and I. But for years, he was, like you said, in Vancouver, he'd be down in English Bay. So for those of you who don't know what English Bay is, it's a very popular beach destination. And he would have this enormous boombox, like this old school, like huge boombox, and just like set it up on the beach, press play, and then just freaking dance to his heart's content. But good, like, you know, he got really good. He got strong. He was doing like some crazy tricks and stuff like that. And he would just put smiles on people's faces, essentially. Like his whole thing is about making people smile, making people happy. You know, he's a performer. So he also, and I want to get his feedback on this, but I'm pretty sure he even had a stint at like SeaWorld.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, like there were people that were starting to hire him as, you know, getting the crowds, you know, excited and get them going. You know, he would do all kinds of festivals and parades. And this is also what I'm talking about. Like he made a living out of doing this.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like he decided, this is what I want to do. I want to make people happy in this way. I want to, you know, dance into everybody's lives live. I don't believe he even had another job for a while, and he traveled around the world doing this.
What I find phenomenal, though, and I agree with you, is that a lot of people say you can't turn your passion into a lifestyle, or you can't turn your...
Another person we have on that's like this, yeah.
Yeah, and I think, and it's not that we're doing this intentional with our guests, but I think it's important to highlight those people that actually are doing that, because, I mean, I've turned my passion into a lifestyle until very recently. You've turned your passion into a lifestyle until very recently as well. And so having... Well,
I did with the studio.
Right, which...
Yeah, so I have... We'll save that, yes.
That's good. That's going to get real juicy, so we'll save that. We'll call that getting enlightened, or after samadhi, which samadhi is the 8th limb of yoga, and it means like enlightenment, ascension, completion, like you are everything, like the Buddha under the Bodhi tree. So I like to call that after samadhi, like kind of like as a tongue-in-cheek kind of joke.
Totally. I love it. Yeah. So now, did you ever meet Spandy? You just said you've seen him.
Yeah, so I haven't actually met Spandy like face to face, but because I was downtown a lot, and then I've been living in downtown Vancouver since 2012, and Spandy was either still performing around then, or at least within that kind of time where I was downtown. I saw him a lot performing in Robson Square, which is a huge kind of plaza in downtown Vancouver, where currently the Vancouver Art Gallery is, and SFU, no, not SFU, no, it's UBC, University of British Columbia.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Sauder School of Business is there. And we have a little kind of like really shitty ice rink that kind of copies like Rockefeller Place in New York. Well, it is. It's completely shitty, but it's always busy because it's the only downtown outdoor ice rink. But anyways, that's kind of the idea of like where I would see him, as well as English Bay. And then I saw him on TV on So You Think You Can Dance Canada, because
that's what I was going to mention too. Yeah, so
that's where I saw him.
Exactly. And I can't believe that. So with Spandy's antics and just his personality, like he just totally captured the attention of the judges and So You Think You Can Dance during, I think it was 2 seasons he was on. It was
2 seasons, yeah. Season 1 and 2.
And this was like, and I can't believe this was almost a decade ago.
Neither can I. I saw the first season like perform live at GM Place or whatever. Like I actually went and saw the reunion tour. Yeah, so I remember that was a great season. Then the show just kind of fell off, but the first season was really great.
I mean, and phenomenal dancers.
And Nico, the winner.
I don't remember.
Oh, Nico's so hot. He was from Montreal. Ugh.
I'm gonna have to look him up. Oh, here he comes.
He's here.
Hello.
Oh
my God! And you are just right off the presses with that logo.
I love it. Yes.
Holy moly!
Oh, I love it.
Great morning.
Okay, for those of you that are listening, you have to, I mean, not that I don't want us to get these great views on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but please come and watch our YouTube channel, because you need to see this to believe it.
You can see how Spandy is just totally outperforming us already, which we knew was going to happen. But like seriously, you need to see this guy's style. Like
Are these
trumps me by far.
Are these golden
Tight
dollars?
and bright.
Are those Bitcoin logos?
Oh, like
This is Bitcoin logos, yes.
I'm millennial. I can figure this shit out still. This is awesome.
I know what that is. I'm on the cusp of being a millennial, but yes, I do know what that is. That's amazing. How are you?
Good. How are you two?
Good.
Really good, thank you.
I haven't talked to you in so long.
Yeah, I've heard so much about you. I've seen you in different areas, which I'm sure many people have, but Rachel has a stronger connection with you. So I'm so thrilled to hear everything that you're up to and how you got to where you are. I don't
Thanks
even know
for
where to
shaving
begin.
for us.
Well, I started creeping you guys and stuff and love what you're doing. And I saw that you're in the Burnaby, Vancouver area then, Hero?
Yeah, I'm downtown Vancouver. I teach yoga in Burnaby, but Vancouver downtown and West Side is my hub. So
okay, so my Facebook creeping is all
He's
right.
turning the tables. He's now doing interviewing for us, it seems like.
yeah, you got to creep me on Instagram. I got rid of Facebook like a year ago. I just have it for marketplace, to be perfectly honest. I like scoring good deals, as we all know. So
hilarious.
Right. But so, nice, that makes sense that you do yoga since Rachel's is such a yogi.
Yes, totally.
I don't know what that even means anymore, but sure.
It's true. Yeah,
I do some yoga. I try to abide by the guidelines, whatever that means. I'm not a vegan. I'm not a vegan. I drink
beer. What yogi means, I guess. Who knows?
And I swear like a motherfucking trucker.
Oh, don't. You hardly do. I'm the one that does.
Really? Oh, I swear all the time. Maybe I'm a bit more polite on the podcast.
On air, yes. What are you drinking?
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Yes.
Hanukkah is on its way.
It is. So
a miracle.
It is a Baruch Hashem. I love it.
Wait, don't get too like Hebrew Jewish now.
I don't know anything else besides that. That's the only term that I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Andy, we're all. I think we're okay. So that's actually, oh my goodness. That's a funny way to start. But it's interesting because even though our podcast is called Getting Jewcy, and I always have to say like a Jew, like JEW, and I do it like this. But anyway, like a Jew. But funny enough, you after what is this? Our 10th episode?
Yeah, episode 10.
We're into
Spandy. Spandy, you are the double digits. You are the bar mitzvah. Well, I guess almost.
No, that'd be 13.
13. Whatever.
Oh,
whatever.
That's why we're ish. Okay.
We're still learning about ourselves.
Exactly. But funny enough, even though that's what our podcast is called because of our commonalities, Hero and I, you're only our third Jew on. Actually.
Oh, really?
So, and the first two, and all of us have been ish, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like Spandy might be ish as well. So we didn't even really formally introduce you, which we probably should do. So we kind of did, just before we hop on, and I kind of mentioned this in my email, we kind of do some little banter, then you hop on, we're already recording, but we did kind of talk a little bit about you being tight and bright and being a performer. And also I see like on your website, you call yourself a performer, a comedian. I don't know. You've got like a whole bunch of different words and names.
Same as the yogi thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out my identity.
Yeah.
That's always
all the branding of what we represent.
But we were talking, and we were talking about, predominantly that you started as a street performer, for lack of better terminology. If
busking
if I can say that, busking, yes,
busking, entertaining,
entertaining, bringing smiles to people's faces, wearing very tight and bright spandex, and over not even that much of time, but you became like a good dancer, and your strength and your enthusiasm and your old school boombox. I mean, it was like I think that most people in Vancouver, I should say, I'd be like, hey, do you remember this guy, or do you know this guy? Everybody would know who you are. Like it was, you just
I know,
built a name for yourself.
Vancouver was made me. It's like thanks to the support of Vancouver, honestly, because I went down to English Bay and busked, street performed. Exactly, that was the beginning, and people accepted me and embraced me and supported me, and that's when I knew, wow, I love doing this and people love it, and this feeling I'm getting is better than anything, you know, when you're connecting with people and sharing
100%.
those moments. So I was like, this is it. I remember going home to my brother who lived downtown at the time, and I was like, I found it. I figured out my purpose.
Awesome. Awesome.
And it's been 10 years since then, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Makes sense.
So I posted, sorry, Hero. Yeah, I'm just so excited to see you.
Yeah, but did you need at that point, did you need a permit or anything, or did you just show up and do your thing?
So you know what's crazy? It was the people of Vancouver that supported me, not the city or the park rangers. You actually, it's federal land on English Bay because it's part of the federal parks. There's all these invisible lines in the world. So I spent like the first 2 years just like jumping over invisible lines every time I saw different uniformed people. Got
it. Okay, I wanted to clarify that because I wasn't sure. Okay, good to know.
Yeah. I know it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I was actually really upset with Vancouver not supporting me and then coming and building the Cactus Club right where I was after saying that I was too loud. Then they came in and just put that in there.
Yeah, of course. Of course, corporations are going to taking over the world.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's not
oh my
okay.
God.
Yeah.
And now, and now after this much time, I don't know if you knew this, but now there are certain parks because of COVID, you can even drink alcohol in now.
Right, that's actually amazing. I love it's like because of COVID, but why not just because of freedom?
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But also taking alcohol out of restaurants as well, though. Like there's alcohol delivery out of restaurants. You have to be in the restaurant to consume the alcohol on the property too, which is why the parks are now permitting alcohol. So that's also really interesting.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I know I was just in Australia when the pandemic hit and they were already drinking outside. One of my favorite things was that we could perform in the park there and then the parents would be having wine at the picnic table and the kids would be running around playing. So they were just so comfortable, you know?
That
Smart.
is amazing.
Vancouver, take note.
Yeah, right? I want to talk about all the things you've been doing. I mean, I know we only have an hour. Maybe we'll have you back for a second part. but I kind of just want to take it back to the beginning of how we met.
Please tell me.
Because it is interesting.
It's juicy.
It is juicy, especially juicy. And we actually met on a trip called Birthright. So Birthright is, I'm totally going to butcher this because it's been so many years, but Birthright is an organization, and I think it's North American, not just Canadian.
Right.
It's North American.
It's in the States too. So, but specifically, Spandy and I were on, we didn't know each other, but we were on this trip where they send, specifically for this one, they sent Canadian youth, I think between the ages of like 18 and 25 or 26 is when it stopped, to Israel for a fully paid trip because they wanted to bring Jewish youth back to their roots. So I don't know, I'm doing this in quotation marks, back to their roots. And, have people explore that part of their history. And so it was really interesting. But anyway, Spandy and I met on that trip. You were, I think, 18, I believe, right? So you're like right on the cusp of like getting in there for that
and
trip.
I was like late on puberty, so I was
still
developing.
I love it.
If you have facial hair, that's why like you're so clean shaven now, and you do look like a babe, a wee babe.
Yeah,
you regressed back to the Birthright days.
I shaved for this podcast.
I love it.
But I'm actually getting my Zetas like receders and stuff. You know, it's happening.
Whatever. We all get it. But on this trip, and I was with my sister actually. I will never forget this moment of being on the tour bus in Israel, and our tour guide, who was with us the whole time, he had a microphone at the front of the bus. And I don't know if he asked if anyone had a song to sing. Maybe it was something like that. Do you remember this?
Oh yeah, I don't remember exactly. Keep going, it's coming.
Yeah, he asked if someone had a song to sing. And of course, this is when I knew Spandy was, I was going to say different, but special.
Yeah.
He hopped up on his seat. He's wearing a baseball cap that says Jew Unit on it.
Oh, I've seen those. Yep.
Yeah, so first of all, and I wasn't aware of the Jew Unit, and so I thought this was just something he came up with, so that I thought that was quite quite cute. And he runs to the front of the bus and he just performs. Like he got on the microphone and I forget what I don't know if it was a rap song or what you were singing, but he just like, and we're all very young. Like I think at that age, you don't have that much confidence necessarily to, get up there and be like that in front of people. But I was just like, this guy, I want to be friends with this guy because, he just doesn't seem to give a shit what people think. Maybe I'm wrong with that, but
that's actually like the Spandy Andy's foundation. So believe it or not, Spandy Andy, like I was Jewish. My identity was Jewish at the age of 18 when we met. And I was like, I was different, like you said, but I also had just different quirky parts of me and I was shorter and I was the only Jew in my school. So like, because I stood out like crazy so much, I had to embrace it fully because it was like, that was the only option for me. So that's why I went like Jew unit because they're like, you Jew? And I'm like, yeah, right. I got the cradle and like, then they couldn't do anything to me. So I was very much Jew, everything. And then that was my confidence. And then I probably sang Whoop, There It Is was one of the karaoke songs I like Whoop, There It Is. But like, was just having fun. But yeah, I sometimes try to freestyle rap, even just try to improvise. But anyway, after Israel, though, I do want to say that, like, I realized I don't want to just perform for Jews. And like, because I realized Jew Unit actually put me in a box of kind of like, come to the synagogue once a year and get a little gig or something. Like there wasn't much opportunity even. And like, I knew like I had Jew jokes as a stand-up comedian and stuff. But then I realized, you know what, I need to do this for everybody. Like not just Jews or my family. The world is my family. It's one big family. So then I changed to Spandy Andy, which represents everyone, the whole spectrum.
I love that. I love that. And can I also say thank you for sharing that, because when a third party shares something about another person that's mutual, you also get an understanding of where they come from as well. It just helps you get a better picture of how everybody's so connected. Like even you and I are connected, even though we have no past relation. And now there is a connection through that thread of a story, which is really neat. Because I haven't done Birthright, but my mom, of course, was very much like, get on the Birthright wait list. Go and do it. So when I was like 15 or 16, I went up to UBC or something to the office there and I got on the wait list and I kept postponing it because I'm honestly not much of a traveler. And I think Rachel knows that, but I'm a homebody and I don't mind when I have traveled. It's been very enjoyable, but it's just not, I like my routine. So I haven't actually gone on Birthright yet, but I know they have some LGBT Birthright groups. I know that those do exist now.
Wow.
I don't know if they have expanded the age gap to the 30 range yet, but I know that they keep extending it. And I'm sure with COVID, if they were kind of considering it, how could they not continue extending it into the early 30s if you were kind of on a wait list, right? I could imagine until you're in your early 30s.
Hero, I think that we should just go.
I'll go with you. Yeah. I mean, and again, I don't mean this in a critical way. As long as we can go when it's so-called on the safer end, because I know that it is a sliding scale, right? So.
Well, and even
weather-wise, I would check because the beaches and the heat's amazing. So if you guys can escape some of this cold, it just got so cold here in Calgary.
So when is Israel not as hot, even if it's naturally hot? When would it be the coolest?
Depends where you go, though, in Israel.
Tel Aviv.
Like
Tel Aviv,
yeah.
What is it? I don't remember anything, but I remember just being so hot and nice that's not a bad place to be.
That's good. I'm glad that you love the heat.
Yeah, I love the beaches and like budgie smugglers, Speedos are totally okay there. But if you wear them in Vancouver, they're like, I stand out and everybody has to take a photo.
Right, but you know what though?
Anyway.
But if it is hot in Tel Aviv and the other beach cities and stuff, and there's all of the men there, you know what? I think I could tolerate the heat a little bit longer. So I think that would be okay for me. So you know what? Let's go whenever we can go.
There you go. I love it. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, let me know too. I would love to go. I mean, Birthright's the way to do it because it was like 14 days paid for everything.
Yeah.
And you also felt pretty safe because we had an armed guy with us the whole time.
Yeah.
There's a guy with us with a freaking gun strapped across his chest that was with us the whole time.
Yes.
Right? It's so sexy.
Plus, we hang out with like 5 soldiers, right?
Yes, and they were with
So we
us like
have
half the
soldiers
time.
You're getting me over clamped, guys. It's not even 10 a.m. yet.
Men in uniform.
Think about that. Actually, if we're driving a school bus with these 4 like Israeli soldier kids that are our age to make us like, you know, see what it's like, and then think if something actually happened, every Canadian would have been like down, and like they would have been like up, and just like they would have been so well trained, and that probably would have helped teach us like, why don't we learn some actual skills that could like save our lives?
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, exactly. And actually dancing could be a very important skill to have, just like, you know, yoga could be a very important skill. Yeah,
well, no, dance and yoga, the truth is there's the strength that they give you would help us in that emergency situation when we need that like cardio endurance, whatever it may be.
Mental clarity of how to stay rational in a moment where most people might be so up here, and we can be like, okay, we are up here too, but we can kind of channel this flow of anxiety, but channeling.
Nah, I'm not there. I'm full on like fight or flight all the time. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I'll carry it for both of us.
To be honest, like as yogis, we absolutely want to be Zen nonstop. That's the practice. That's why I love it. Because it's like just deep breathe, just focus on your breathing. You're fine. But then, of course, in the moments in life when you're in an argument and you just go off and you're like, "What the heck? I'm a yogi."
Well, and speaking on that, because I know that we'll go back and forth, because that's just how we talk. But also, I noticed, Spandy, you're doing your fitness certification right now, group fitness or personal training?
Yeah, I'm doing a personal training group fitness, leaning towards actually elderly, probably, because my parents are in their 70s, so I wanted to learn some health benefits for them and their friends too.
That's so cool.
I love it. And are you doing it through a certain organization or a governing body?
Yeah, I'm looking at my textbook on the floor there because I got an exam tomorrow. It's the Alberta Fitness Leadership Certification Association.
Okay.
And they basically teach you all about muscles, the skeletons, the joints, and like it's like the first level of kinesiology as well. So it's fun, except for all the scientific Latin words for everything.
Oh yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, have you studied?
Well, with yoga, anatomy and physiology, it's all Latin. So and Sanskrit. Yeah.
And then all the names of all the postures. What language is that?
Sanskrit.
Sanskrit. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which you don't like. I mean, you don't necessarily. I don't know if they tested you on that. Did they, Hero? Not in my training. I mean, like you learn what the words are, and it's nice to know them.
There were some. It was more of like a food for thought kind of thing. We're not being based on our proficiency with Sanskrit, but yeah, if we can say the Sanskrit on the most common postures and then follow with English in the way we're doing our practicum, it definitely reflects the fact that you appreciate where the words come from and the etymology and the philosophy and the mythology of the words, because it's such an ancient practice that a lot of postures are named after sages or gurus or animals of the land. And so that also, for me, I like to speak in Sanskrit as much as I can, as long as I know the English translation whenever I'm teaching a class, even today.
Well, it's like respectful. That's the whole thing. It's respectful.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been doing yoga 10
even
years.
Even though I'm a white Jew, but
I'm a white female Jew, which apparently for thousands of years females were not supposed to or allowed to teach yoga. So
I know, but I'm a white gay Jew.
So there you go. Let's just fight this out.
I know. I thought my brother was the only gay Jewish guy. There's another one,
and he's really cute, by the way. He's really handsome.
Are you single?
Yeah, and I really would love to have a husband.
I mean, it's just that easy when you're Jewish. It's just the most important thing.
Yeah, but you know what? If anyone out there is listening in a non-desperate way, if you know any other really awesome gay Jewish men in the greater Vancouver Regional District or mutual friends, I swear this is the way that I'm going to meet people, is by reference and word of mouth, because it's very challenging meeting people online. So I just want to put that out there.
Oh yeah. Especially
Please continue though. Please continue.
I know. I mean, my brother's already taken now, and but I have this exciting opportunity where I ended up breaking up with my fiance, and all my exes were Christians, actually.
I'm sorry about that, by the way. I did.
Yeah, no worries. It's been 10 years, so lots has happened.
Yeah,
but now I'm like the optimistic about the fact that my partner could potentially be Jewish, so that I could have the fun traditions in the house with the kids. Like, not like I care so much about going to synagogue or something, but
Yeah.
And actually, that's something I wanted to talk to you or ask you about, because you said something interesting that I didn't really realize, that your personality or the way that you conducted yourself and how Spandy Andy kind of came to be maybe came from some of your experiences as a kid growing up and maybe being ridiculed for your background or who you were and as being Jewish. So I kind of want to go back to that for a sec, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no.
So like, you know, growing up in Red Deer, correct?
Yeah.
So Red Deer, Alberta. So, I mean, like, what's the population of Red Deer? I don't know.
Red Deer's up to 100,000, but I was definitely the only Jew in my school because everybody knew, like you said, I was Jew units. I was looking for other Jews, but there weren't.
Right. so like, was that, so that was something that they picked on you for, I'm guessing.
Yeah, like kids just pick on you for anything. And yeah, 100%. Jews, one of them, like, they didn't even know why. I was actually really lucky that when I did report a kid that like did get to me, because he would be like, this is Jewish, that's Jewish, but he didn't even know, right? He's like 15, and I even nowadays, it probably wouldn't even bother me, but at the time he's like, this computer broke down, it's Jewish. Like, it didn't even make sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then finally I reported him, and he actually got suspended, had to apologize to me, and I was so happy that the school took it so serious.
That's amazing.
That is really important. Yeah.
And that was a number of years ago, which is actually, that's even more amazing that was done.
Right. It's true, actually. And my brother, being 10 years older than me and being gay, he came out when he was like 20. So I was 10, and like, this is back in 1996, and there's no same-sex marriage or anything. And like, the word fags, like the second word used from every kid on the playground, right?
Yeah.
In a derogatory way too. And they're like, that's gay. I'm like, well, what do you, hey,
sure,
like, that's my brother. Like, so I'm dealing with gay and Jew through, and that's what really made Spandy Andy be proud of himself and stuff, seeing what my brother had to go through in that.
No kidding.
Yeah.
To all the gay Jews out there, we got you. I got you.
That's so inspiring. Yeah, it's inspiring. I think that's amazing.
I know. So then, all that stuff that we had to go through, it's true. And like my brother now, like we love seeing how people can just come out now when they're like 13 and that, and it's just like totally fine. And like, you know, we're still all trying to figure it out. So I think people are more and more accepting, but of course, when you watch the news, it seems very political.
Well, yeah. And I have a lot of respect for your brother as well, though, because for me, I was very blessed. And even in BC and Vancouver, it was definitely not easy for me. And I had it really fortunate, and it was still very challenging because I never even really, I came out because, of course, you identify and you understand the vocabulary to understand what all those things are, particularly in the 90s, but in the early 2000s. But like when I came out, it wasn't like, oh, like you're gay, or... You know, it was like, oh yeah, of course. Okay, we accept it. We love you. But if I was in a more rural community and you took that back another 10 years, my God, I would just be like, I don't know what it would be like. So I can't put myself in his shoes. So I have a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, nice. Thanks. I'm so proud of him. And when he was Mr. Gay Canada last year as well.
Amazing.
That was his dream, kind of. And when he found, he wasn't even sure that he was gay or not because there was no, people around. So he was just told he's supposed to have a girlfriend. So he always did have girlfriends, but he never even like had feelings for them. So it actually took him till like his 20s to even know, like, oh, I get it. Once he finally met someone in college, type of thing.
Oh,
yeah,
makes me feel so warm and fuzzy. I love that.
And not to put it on just make it about your brother right now, but he's a very inspiring guy, and maybe we'll have him on one day too, but he's great. And then speaking of your brother, because you guys collaborated for a number of things, like especially earlier on when you first started doing what you're doing.
So he's always wanted to be an actor too, and he for his bar mitzvah, which is like way back because he's born 1977. So
oh wow.
It was like he got a camera that recorded though, but it was like a VHS kind of camera, like a really old school thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he recorded me and I was his little star. So it was like, I want to see Andy on TV, I used to say to him when I was like 2. So it's like that. My brother has a lot to do with my story. So I'm happy to talk about him.
Amazing. And I'm just so glad. And it just makes you so happy that you have such a strong bond with your brother, because I mean, having been through loss of my older brother through cancer, you know, like 15 years ago, we weren't close at all. Like, I don't think we had a chance to get close. So it's great to hear stories like that where people they cherish their siblings, they cherish their brother, that they stay connected, because, you know, that's your blood. That's your generation you're growing up with. So it makes me really happy and a little bit sentimental when I hear things like that. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. It means a lot.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that too, because we didn't know at first. It's like, of course you're supposed to love your family, but then we did hear that over and over as we worked together. Everybody was like, it was so nice. A lot of people have told us that because there is so many conflicts in families.
Oh yeah. It's actually, I actually almost think it's more rare than you think to be like best friends with your siblings, or
right.
That's actually almost more rare. Just with all the.
How are you with your sis? No pressure, no pressure.
well, no, and I'm not just saying this. Okay, you know what? No, we've been like this, like a roller coaster. You know, like when we were really little, when we were little tots, like we would put on plays together for like the neighborhood, and we were I'd put on magic shows, and then like we'd have like haunted houses for the kids and the.
What? You were a performer.
We were as kids, but I don't know if you remember this, Spandy, but my parents were musical theater performers, so we had costumes like in the downstairs closet from shows, like adult costumes, like full ball gowns and like crazy stuff to put on. So that's what we were doing. So we really got along when we were little. And then, you know, as you get older, we were 3.5 years difference. So that's an interesting gap, because
makes it harder.
It does a little bit, because then when you go, you know, when she started high school, I was just kind of getting to the tail end of high school.
Right.
So at that point, you don't
want to share friends and stuff, because like even when I was 10 years younger than my brother, like he'd bring a friend over and like, that's my friend too.
But it was cute enough. It was cute at that point,
right?
That gap
when it's that far.
So
of course.
But interestingly enough, when I finished high school, my sister got to grade 12. She became really good friends with my friends.
Right.
And we honestly have been very close for a number of years now. Also, we won't get into all this thing, but I think that had to do with when my parents separated when I was 20-ish and she was like 17, 18. So we got closer because of that experience.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, but but no, she's good. She's good.
Good
has a baby.
She was on the trip too, right?
She was on the trip too. Yes.
She was on the trip as well.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
my sister. Yeah, she was. So that was very cool. But I know I'm just switching. Not that I don't want to talk about that, but I want to talk more about you.
Yes.
And I do have because what I'm super curious about. It's a topic that Hero and I have talked about with a few people lately. I don't know if he knows where I'm going with this, but the fact that you can have a passion in life and make that into a way of living, and not necessarily have to, grind it out with these menial jobs that don't make you happy.
Right. Yeah.
So it sounds like you found a way to do that. And I know times have changed right now for everybody, so we can talk about that in a sec with COVID, but pre-COVID, like,
right. Pre-COVID, I'm an internet baby, and I had the belief that you could actually do anything you want, which is like the truth, thanks to the internet. So I actually owned Jew-ish-ness, and I was thinking of producing some sort of Jewish merchandise and that. And like, there's all the possibilities in niche markets thanks to the internet, right? Mm-hmm. So I believe you really can do anything you want now, thanks to like making a website and getting a business card being such a reasonable price. And then from there, you can try to get a client and you're good to go. Right?
No, that's true though. That's so true. And I want to ask you about your history with how you, again, you talked about performing in English Bay and downtown Vancouver. And then I saw that, and I know there must have been tons of stuff in between. But then I've seen you, of course, like also You Think You Can Dance Canada, and being a reality TV addict, not just for that show, and being obsessed with Mary Murphy. I mean, how could you not be? I'm just curious to know, not necessarily that experience, like in this answer to this question right now, but I'm curious to know like a little bit about the timeline of like, we know your very beginning. We know how you met Rachel and some history with your brother. But can you kind of fill us in a little bit in between of how that transcended to now? Just so that way those that are listening, maybe they don't know who you are. And if you don't, now they do. But it'd be great to get a sense of your trajectory and how that's come into now.
Okay, yes. Well, a part of me is also ADHD. And like literally like a notification came on when you're asking a question. It's like, no,
That's okay. I get that.
What did you say? What did you say?
Like, my journey in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and just and the birth of Spandy Andy and the birth of dancing. Like, where did you perform?
Right, thanks.
How did people notice you? How did he get on reality TV? That's all of that stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, great. Yeah, so there was a street performer festival that came to Red Deer called Center Fest, which was just a weekend festival where they brought in international buskers and street performers to do their shows. And once I saw them, that actually really inspired me. And I not only was it making me laugh and bringing the community together and making everyone happy, I actually saw that they were very financially well off. They'd have put their hat out at the end of the show and the whole audience would fill their hat. And I'd be like, Dad, like what? Because my dad always wants me to be a success, right? Money, success, or whatever. I'm like, see, look, this guy's gonna make hundreds of dollars today, cash. That originally got me excited about street performing. Even just that, it was a really simple way to practice your talent and then get a little bit of money for that. And what's better than that? And I was lucky because I started when I was like 16 and like prepubescent and stuff. So like everybody kind of, just because you're a kid trying your best, they support you even, which I realized too, as long as you try your best, maybe even as an adult, truthfully, I shouldn't, as long as you're showing authentically that you're trying your best, people actually do support you, even if maybe your talent's not at the caliber to get past the first season of So You Think You Can Dance.
Right. Right.
So anyway, I started street performing mainly because it was a nice way to make a little money and practice dancing. And I realized if I can make $33 in an hour, which I can do 5 songs I can dance in an hour. So then if I only have to make like $10 after a song, right? And I was like calculating it out, and I'd sit at English Bay and like pay off my rent dancing there.
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
That is so fantastic.
Honestly.
Yeah, thanks. I know, and I was so excited about that. And so that was my first step of kind of getting out of a regular job. I was still a server as well at the Mongoli Grill in Vancouver.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Place. It's gone now, so the nostalgia. But anyway, I finally transitioned to full-time performer once I auditioned for reality TV, got on there, didn't make it past like serious dancing, but it got my name out there. And that got me the job at Marineland, Canada, dancing with sea lions and dolphins for a year in Ontario. And then since I was already way out of my comfort zone, away from my family and friends now, because it's hard at first when you move so far, but now after Niagara, then I was like, let's go to Australia. Like, let's bring Spandy global. There's the working holiday visa available. And I just entertained international audiences in Niagara Falls. So then it just kept going. And then it went viral, one of my videos in Australia, because I was always trying to make content. And then that snowballed into a trip to Israel. I got to go back to Israel thanks to an energy drink company to do a commercial for them. So I was back in Tel Aviv, and I actually saw a couple of the birth rate guys.
No. The ones that were on the trip with us.
That were on the trip with us. Yeah, his name starts with a Y, yes, son. They're like, I haven't kept up.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, wow. So
so they came to my hotel and we all hung out, and I filmed my video, and they actually helped out because I needed like some guys to be like screaming in the background of a couple shots, you know? And it just kept snowballing. I was so lucky and thankful that this thing that I'm doing is possible. Like, to do as a career.
It's
I
so,
never know where it's going to go though. Like you have to transition, and now I'm going to be a personal trainer, which I'm really excited because fitness and health is so important. So now I'm really excited to help others and maybe settle down from traveling and maybe help others be healthy and happy.
Wow.
So then what, like, just on, it's actually dumbfounding. Like it blows my mind because, you know, people might look at what you're doing and just think it's impossible. Like how, you know, something that's so unconventional.
Yeah.
Especially
you
for
can
those.
really do anything. It doesn't even make sense. Like, what am I doing? I'm a spandex dancer. Like, what does it even mean? Like, people used to say, like, so what do you do? I'm like, dance.
Yeah.
But then they think as soon as you say dance, it's like, oh, tango, salsa, rumba.
Right.
Like, what's your style? And then it's like, I've taken 4 classes. I don't know.
But it is what is exuded, if that's a word. Yes. Exudes from the inside out. Like you are the brand, obviously, but like you've sold what's
that feeling of just happiness and gratitude. It comes from like my grandma being a Holocaust survivor. There is so much to this thing because it's like,
hello, okay, there's another sorry to interrupt you, but that's another commonality between the three of us.
Yeah.
So the three of us have Holocaust survivor grandparents, all 3 of us.
2 on my side.
And 2 on my side too. Well, from the same, both my dad's parents. And that's very fascinating to me because you've taken something, you spun it to be like such a positive thing, whereas maybe my nature unfortunately is to be negative, which is not good. And I struggle with that. So I try to rise above it, but it's interesting that like that generational trauma to me, I've spun it like, oh, that's the reason for my anxiety, for my depression, for my this, for my that. And like, you know, I've taken on that side of things, but you seem to have like,
so it's all perspective. We all make stories. Like you literally just made a story in your mind, like it's because of the anxiety, and then you'll believe it without too much actual evidence behind that, right? So even my stories, I make them up too. I realize it without evidence behind them. But since I realized that, I was like, I might as well make the story positive, since either way it's a story, because like that's just how it works in the world. Like
perception.
Love it.
So I saw it as like just my grandma's family got murdered in front of her. She was the right age, so she was the only one that survived and was allowed to work through the camps. And when she told us that story, I was like, I was actually mad when my friends would complain about little things. That's for some reason how it got to me, because my friends would be upset about something so small, and my grandma's telling me about how she wished she could see her brother because like she watched him starve to death, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And I was just, so I always was just like, be thankful, be so thankful. And how do you show thanks? By like being happy and grateful for the moment. And like, how do you do that? By dancing and like, you know, just being thankful to be alive. It comes down to, that's what I ended up taking from it. But yeah, I'm sure there was a lot of traumas that it affected too, right?
Well, I wasn't going to bring this up in this episode, but just because we're talking about it, and I don't know if Hiro saw this, but I just got an email there's a woman, a doctor in New York, who is the leading doctor behind a lot of these, what am I trying to say? Not experiments. Oh my goodness.
Intergenerational trauma, you said, right?
Yeah, but she's at the forefront of all this. What the heck? I can't think of the word. Whatever. Anyway, she's a doctor and she has done all these. What am I trying to say?
Are you talking about hereditary?
No, like I'm talking
how
about
it passes through.
Yeah, like generational trauma. But I'm just, you know, when there's the simplest word, you cannot think of it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going through right now, but that's okay. Anyway, her assistant, I really wanted to get a hold of her to get her take on all this. Her assistant just got back to me today saying she would be more than happy to be a part of our show.
Oh my God, really?
So yeah, so
I haven't heard that yet.
Right, because this morning at like 6:30 this morning. So this very profound and well-known doctor in her field about generational trauma that specifically has to do with Holocaust survivors as well.
Oh, I'm so
We will have her on hopefully in December. So So Spanny, if you would all want to be a part of that, I just thought I'd throw it out there.
For
but
sure, I definitely
we'll talk about that after. But
and find out about that. That's interesting. I know it's
Very-
crazy. Even in fitness, there is a lot of like DNA, hereditaries, all kinds of like my flexibility is because of my Jewish ancestry.
Yep.
Yeah.
You might have had better luck with that one. DNA.
I don't know. I don't know. There's not a lot of active people in my family, to be honest. So I think I'm a bit
Mine
of an
too,
anomaly.
actually.
Yeah.
It started with my sister and I, believe it or not. My sister's a massive CrossFitter now.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
My parents were never, and it started with us more or less. But anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's just, I just wanted to, it was a perfect segue into me bringing that up. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and then another quick segue is like, yeah, I like talking about perspective. I think that's one of the big things with Spandy Andy, because like the positive perspective, it almost sounds cheesy because I do really like how authentic we are, and like you, especially just now when you forget the word, right? You're just authentic about it, you know, and accept it, and it's okay.
Whatever, it is what it is. We all do it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I'm
human.
like, exactly. There's so many like human conditions that we live through. I like to call them that we have to deal with. But as a yogi or even spiritual person, you try to find yourself behind that, witnessing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being part of it.
Correct.
And just like laughing at it and being, look at that, how the brain just, the word didn't come out. That's funny. Instead of like getting caught up in the being like, my brain's not working. What is it? Do I have to read more? Is it, my diet off? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I do that too, though. I'm like, I swing from, because I am totally like, I've got health anxiety. I'm a swinger. I'm a swinger. Please don't contact me, swingers. That's not what I meant. No, it's true though. Like, as from a yogi perspective, and that's what I love about even Buddhism. Being the observer, observing things, becoming neutral. That's my new favorite word.
Yeah.
Becoming neutral to everything. And nothing's good or bad. It just is.
Right. Just witness it. Like I woke up in the middle of the night and had to let my dog out, and like I'm so angry at first. And I'm like, just embrace it. Like whatever. Like drink some water. Like I don't know. Just stop getting so mad at nothing. Like be neutral. Just witness it. It's hard, but yeah.
So what were you doing just before the pandemic? Like you weren't even in Canada, I think.
Right. I was performing in the Adelaide Fringe Festival. So I'm still doing a lot of street performing. It is still like my bread and butter live performance.
Yes.
Wow.
So I was there, and it was a 30-day festival, and the pandemic didn't hit till like the 29th day. So we were really lucky to complete the whole thing, have a great time. And then I came back on my regular scheduled flight, which ended up putting me in the 14-day quarantine. It was just the timing of it all.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, oh my goodness, I am thankful for the Canadian, like, CERB program. I know it's a controversial thing for people, but like, as an entertainer, every single one of my gigs canceled. Like even my elf thing, like I'm an elf, a Jewish elf, but they don't know I'm Jewish, but I'm an elf at the mall.
You lied on your application? Sorry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Santa knows, bitch. Anyway, I lost that job this year too. Even like the mall already knew that Christmas wasn't going to be the way it was. So that was crazy, but I've been totally comfortable, like working on myself and yoga and getting ready for comeback once we open back up, thanks to Canada. So I'm proud Canadian there.
Yeah,
absolutely. We've been doing as good as we can in Canada. I think we can always do better, but I think compared to other parts of North America, we've been pretty decent.
And every other performer in Adelaide had to travel home. They went to, Spain. Nothing from their government. In fact, it was even like more dangerous in Spain. Other guys went other places. No one got any support from their government. And I'm like, wow, in Canada, not only did the government come in, but then each gig that canceled on me ended up contacting me and saying like, we'd love for you to produce a video for us. We're going online this year anyway.
Amazing.
Wow.
It's unreal. So good for Canada community and supporting the arts.
Well, and I also want to, but one thing I want to touch with what you just said is that a lot of us have had to reinvent the way that we reach our audiences in our entrepreneurialism and our creative expression. And that's very much how people have done it, is like a lot of people have gone on Zoom, or they've gone on Instagram Live, or they've gone on some kind of live cast or pre-recorded and then on a viral platform. They've reached those same audiences that right now we wouldn't be able to reach if we didn't have that technology, right? So again, here we come back to the internet, and even like right now, we're coming back to the internet, and that's pretty phenomenal that we can create these platforms that normally wouldn't be able to run even 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So there's so much we could talk about there, and then now I'm like, I want to know more about you because you're a good speaker. I'm like, and I know this is a podcast about me. We're not just supposed to hang out, but.
What? Oh my God! No, we are totally meant to hang out. This is totally not about just. It's a. I like to say it's an open-ended. It's an open-ended dialogue that doesn't just have to do with, our guest or myself or Rachel. It's a collaboration. So anything you want to ask Rachel or myself, please feel welcome to. And that's very kind of you to say about my speaking, because I've
said that about him too. I agree.
I don't think a lot of people know this that are watching anonymously, but I actually was speech impaired, and I don't think a lot of people know that.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow, so maybe that made you, because you had to overcome that, and the tools that it took made you as well as you are, because we'd have no idea. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the short end of that story, because of being mindful, I mean, we have actually quite a bit of time, but in respect to our timing, I mean, basically what happened with me is that I was born with nonverbal learning disorders. That's actually what it's called, NVLD. And it's not the same, which I actually had to realize actually even like in the last year, it's not the same as being on the spectrum of Asperger's, ADHD, or autism, of any kind of high or low autism functioning. But NVLD has to do with just what it's called for, nonverbal learning. And so the way that our cognition and our dialectic behaviors in our brain, how they correlate to the performance of our actions and how they follow each other. So that's what actually is what I was dealt with, in addition to traumatic chronic anxiety, both hereditary from the Holocaust, but also through the loss of my brother and going through obesity and bullying and sexuality, lots of layers. But the non-verbal component, apparently I couldn't actually verbally speak until I was 5, and went to speech therapy as well as a preschool for speech therapy as well. And it was called Small Talk, and it still exists actually in Vancouver, around the Cambie Village area, actually, just off of Cambie Village, which is a very popular area in Vancouver as well, for those that are not from here. But anyways, that's kind of how it started. And luckily, my parents found a speech therapist in Richmond, which is a suburb near the airport. And so I went to her. Her name was Penny. I remember that. It was like 3. And then I went to the small talk preschool. And then I also was delayed in my reading. So a lot of my reading comprehension, a lot of my phonetic development was done manually, and was also like physiotherapy for life skills. So like I still have very poor visual spatial awareness and hand-eye coordination. Like I can't sew a needle on a thread. I couldn't tie shoelaces until I was 12. I always preferred zipper or elastic waistbands to the button up because I couldn't button things up. Even working in retail again right now, like I have issues when I come to folding t-shirts or things that are very flimsy. I can't have the same accuracy. Or if I take a stack of like pants down from the wall, I try to stack them back up and I do my best, but for some reason I just can't do it correctly. And so these little things I still deal with today, but you learn manually how to train your brain and your body from dialectic behavior therapy and from life skills. So that's my point. The whole point of that whole spiel is that even if you are dealt with something, it is very much possible that you have to work fucking hard to blend back into the mainstream. I've never been mainstream, even if people think I might come off initially, but there's a whole lot of hardwired patterns I've had to create so I can function like a natural human being. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize. And I forget too, because I want to be viewed as no different from anyone else. But it actually, I am quite different. And I love myself because of that. But it's been very hard. It's been very hard.
Nice. Wow, that's an amazing story. Like I wonder, like, that willpower inside of you that made you so strong, you know, that soul in you, that's so impressive. Like, it was dealt all these challenges, but you know, you fought through it, even though it wasn't easy, right? That's amazing. I always think is that the Jewish soul, but do I have to put Jewish on it? Or
No, but I think it is though. I think there's a lot of it.
Resilience, that like
the resilience is a huge thing. Tenacity and resilience. And also I've always been naturally I would say a very optimistic energy, despite the fact that I have kind of felt, I think maybe some of the darkness has kind of come in and out through the years because of those that weren't willing to accept and embrace my authentic way of being. And it took time to kind of come back from that, including sexuality, to love yourself unconditionally, and to know that even though we have our own victimizations inside, and we all do, regardless of our heritage or backgrounds in ourselves, we have to be our own best friends, and we have to be our own support system. And one of my teachers said to me, my very first yoga teacher who trained me to teach yoga, and that's still in my life today, but not as much now. He would always say to me, I don't want to be your guru. I don't want to be the one that you feel that has all the answers, because I don't. I'm just a human being, but I have life experiences, and I might have a little bit more wisdom from the fact that I've gone through this journey and I'm going through it now still. So you need to be your own mentor. You need to be your own teacher, because you are going to be that for other people, and then they're going to find themselves, and then they're going to be that for those people that come after them. And so that's how I treat myself. I try not to rely on anybody. I try not to expect things from other people, even though human conditioning we do. I try to make sure I'm as self-reliant as I can, despite what I feel I have deficiency or not a natural skill set for, because we really only have ourselves in the end of the day.
Well, it's funny because, especially with all the internet stuff and the stuff we're doing, even right now, it's like validation still seems to be through popularity, the number of likes, like what how you get perceived by the world. And even though I think for a while there, we were trying not to be that way, but now we're really that way, especially with the pandemic. So it is kind of difficult sometimes to separate, I notice even myself, from wanting to hit those numbers and validating myself based on that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then but taking a step back, and I'm sure Spandy, that's something.
Oh my goodness, I've gone through whirlwinds mentally. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not even on social media that much. I'm on there, but I post once a week max. I don't even do anything because
Whereas you were hardcore into that for a long time.
You talked about a very important thing to me, which is telling kids that numbers aren't it's just numbers in your bank account are the same as the number of likes and views on your videos. They're irrelevant. It's this illusionary story that you make up in your head, and you'll be chasing the rat race of numbers in your bank account or numbers on your videos. And that's what happened with me. I lost myself chasing numbers, and I lost my morals even. And because I kept trying to get my what does best for the video instead of what's true to me. So I got lost being distracted by this industry that's got some very negative, unnatural things in it. And then I just had to I actually went cold turkey in 2016 after doing a video every single day. For 1 year. And then I went cold turkey because it affected my life in a health basis, which was more important, right?
And I want to talk about that a little bit. It's you kind of touched on that, but how would you say compared to that to now, how do you feel the contrast is in letting the things you've created, that you've built, that people understand, and you're at a place of contentment where you're happy with what you've built, and you know that it's surfacing and that people already know about it. So you can kind of let it just organically grow instead of continuously pushing out content. Do you find that you're in a more settled place, in a place where you feel like you don't have to work, not necessarily not work as hard, but not work as diligent in pushing your brand out there?
Contentment was the perfect word that you used there. That's what I've been searching for in my life. And I was wondering what it was through meditation and stuff. I'm always why is my brain always you have to be productive, you have to work, you have to produce, it's just this workaholic. And I think that is from my Zeta. So it's oh, my alarm here. No.
Oh, it's okay. Oh, we get to see the full spandex.
Oh, I love it.
What's behind the screen?
I love that.
Yes.
god, yes!
Look at that.
Oh my
Hey,
god.
Love it.
Oh,
Okay,
love
again,
it.
those of you that aren't watching, hop on the YouTube channel, Getting Jewcy. Rachel and Hero.
Oh my god, I love it.
Can I have a little bit of a burning question, like a follow-up question before I forget, to talking about numbers, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the issue might be that it doesn't, like YouTube, for example, and maybe Instagram, like it is about the numbers though, in a way, because the more numbers you get, then you actually get to be
just
monetized.
like your people say it is about money.
Right,
It is
good
about
point,
money.
good point. Hold on. Is there a way for, because we're still fairly new to this. I mean, is there a way to get monetized or to because we want to try to make a living doing what we love.
I know, but you
Right?
can't you can't do it for that, which you know too. Like you're doing it for the love, number one, but then you're right. You're like, we have to monetize this, but the truth is the universe just brings it to you, so you have to trust. So
you're preaching to the choir of yogis. Yeah, I totally understand that.
So, no, it's perfect, because it does end up coming to this too, because you're like the numbers and the monetization, and there are, like, I could be like, oh, brand deals, hashtags, yes. But the truth is, just like trust, follow your passion like you guys are, and then it will bring you to something that you didn't even realize, whether it is your at-home yoga or your this podcast or wherever it may be, right? You don't know, and it's trying to figure it out is when you get caught in your head and too much. And then that's why it's always like, come back to the moment, trust, because that's what I've learned in my experiences.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and then, like, of course, it's funny because, like, my parents are like, well, you have to make a living, right? Like, so it does translate to everything in life. Like, so it is always in your head. Like, finances, like, money is an illusion, but it all runs us, eh? And that could lead into Bitcoin, but I don't want to talk forever.
I love it. I love it. But one thing that you again mentioned though is that I find that with my branding, people say to me, you know, why don't you should have more followers? Like, why don't you have more followers? Like, your messaging, your branding, what you put up is just a reflection of who you are. You're not trying to be someone that you're not. And I say to them, yeah, because I am. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not trying to have a Pinterest theme Instagram where every middle square on my feed is a contrasting thing to the left and the right. Like, I don't care about that. I care about reaching 5 people that might provide me a career or a message, than 25,000 people that might actually not even give a shit about me, but they're showing, they're looking at my story, but they don't even choose to say hello or acknowledge me on my birthday or actually send me a direct message, let alone ask, can I send you a text message or can I schedule a virtual date with you? Like, I'm not saying that's the only black and white, but I do find it's important to acknowledge the fact that yes, you can grow a brand and you need to monetize, you do need to grow a following, all of these things. But at what point does it become unnecessary when you find enough of a stability? Then why keep doing it, unless if it's from that same place of sincerity and intentionality that we start with? Because a lot of people get lost, and I understand why, but you don't have to get lost. Intention, purpose, reason.
In everything. Isn't it cool how the yogi thing comes to everything? Because even like performing on stage, it was like a learning thing, and it was like I had to trust it and be proud, just like in the front of the bus in Israel. Like, you just have to trust it and not care, and come from the intention of love and happiness, and like just send that out. And then that always works. It's crazy. Like, you could try to write this whole script and be like so prepared, but like the number one thing was like, were you able to just like
let go,
come at it with love from that foundation?
Well, what is like Dr. Bonnie Henry, who is the British Columbia doctor? She's like the head of the COVID everything here in BC. And what does she say about COVID? It's funny because there's a bit of a parallel there. She says, keep it low and slow. Like, and if your followers, if they're, I know that's a very bizarre
election.
Yeah, but like, for example, with followers, like if you keep it just low but slow and like slowly growing, like then you have the genuine
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
followers, right? Like if you get that, I mean, I feel like
Oh yeah, that's very wise for sure. Like honestly, like if you have like 5 people that you actually impact, it's true. That's
yeah.
super powerful. Like think
Uh-huh.
5 people, it's still a lot. And like I've honestly done things for very small groups of people because like street performing, it doesn't always work out. So there's a lot of failures, but I've had like the single family that's like stopped. So I've done the show just for them. And then you find out like the mother was actually the producer of the Just for Laughs, and she booked me over there, and I like went to
Wow.
Montreal. So like even if it's 5 people, you don't know who they are either. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's it's
Wow.
I'm glad to hear you guys saying that already, because yeah, the numbers, they matter in the sense that like 5 is a lot. How many family members do you have? 10? Like, so if you hit 10, that's a whole family of people. So yeah.
It is. So one thing I wanted to ask you, Spandy, while we have you here, I really wanted to ask you about your name, and then I have another question from that as well. Have you always been by the name of Spandy Andy?
Yeah, so no, thank you. And thank you guys. You called me Spandy this whole chat, which is awesome. Like I love it.
Know.
I literally changed my name, but you know what? I'm not someone that if you call me Spanky, I go with it. But I literally changed my name in Vancouver back in 2013. So yeah, that's coming up to 10 years. And that I kept my last name just to keep my father happy. And I also I changed my name again. I take nothing serious in life unless it's death, like the Holocaust. And then everything else is just like joking. Like my name doesn't really matter. So that's why it wasn't a big deal to me. So I just did it more as a publicity thing, because when I'd get interviewed, they'd be like, so what's your name? And I'd be like, Spandy Andy. They're like, no, what's your real name? I'm like, I'm making it Spandy Andy.
Right.
And then I found out Canada is one of the few countries that allows you to do that. You actually can't legally just change your name everywhere. So I was another freedom I was really proud of. So I was like, let's do it.
Yeah. Wow.
So were your parents disappointed, or like?
I guess they've talked to me about it a couple times now and said they were upset at first. They're like, you know that you were named after your bubbies, but then it was changed because the rabbi made it masculine, and then like we converted it to English. So then we came up with like Anthony. Like, so I was actually Anthony on my ID, but nobody knew that. I was raised as an Andy too. So like nothing made sense with my name. My middle name was Matthew, the 1 T. There was only 1 T instead of 2. And it was translated again. So I was just like, you know what? It's okay, and it's just a name, and I did it, and now I could always change it back. Like, come on,
Of course.
No, absolutely.
So I am Spandy anyway. Thanks for asking about it. Legally, it's on my passport when I come across the border.
Yep.
Spandy Andy.
Oh my God, the reactions you must get. We can talk about that another time, but like,
yeah, I know they ask questions like, what's the name? Some don't know how to say it. Sandy. Some I told one person my dad invented spandex. Just like it comes up so much. I was like, let's just play with it, see what happens.
Totally.
But
of course.
They're like, your parents would do that to you? Because some people they knew that stuff.
I love it. Anyway. And then the other question I had, because again, I'm going to say this is like a shameless plug for me, but like, what was it like meeting Mary Murphy? Because I don't know if she just judged you and gave you commentary, or like, did you get a sense of her?
Yeah, so we had that amazing connection in the show and a good laugh, and like we were quite separate during the filming, but believe it or not, when the Winter Olympics came to Vancouver, it was like right after the filming of that show, so she came back to Vancouver, and no lie, I was street performing at the brand new like area athletes center. And I was street performing, and she came out of the SkyTrain, no lie, and I actually like chatted with her and like got to know her a little more in person.
Oh wow.
And just like it was super cool, and I ended up having her and one other one follow me on like Twitter. I can't remember the other judge's name right now, not Luther Brown, but the other
Nigel.
Oh, Jean-Marc Jeanneret.
Oh no, not him.
Rex Harrington.
No, what was the girl? She was dark skinned.
Oh yes. I forget her name. Sorry.
Whoops. But
Yeah.
She is awesome. And anyway, the both of them followed me on Twitter. So I actually did send like the odd thing, just like saying like, hey, I'm coming to Toronto for this. And then like nothing happens. But it was cool. It was, they were down to earth. Mary Murphy was awesome. Great person. I think like, they just deal with a thing where they can't be in public too long. It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is too bad, you know? Like, I'm actually happy now. I'm like, maybe I don't want to make it as good as Mary or some of these people because it ends up affecting their personal lives so much, right?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it can.
I've thought about that before too. Yeah, for sure.
She's awesome. It was great. Yeah, these people, like once you meet them in showbiz, like a lot of showbiz is like it's pretty put on, right? Like everything.
For sure it is.
Oh yeah.
On the reality TV, like what reality? One of the producers.
Yeah.
Sure reality is what I call it.
And like I naturally made Mary laugh, which is why they love her and like they love her laugh. And then like afterwards they're like, okay, we want to film that again from another angle. It's like no.
Did you say no?
We're gonna do it with the 360 cam. It's like, well,
oh my god,
we try, but we do it, but it's like a joke. They're like, redo your last move, and Mary, pretend you're laughing because you're like shooting from behind your head, like stuff like that. It's not real at all.
No, it's not real.
Of course not. Oh my gosh.
No.
And even Wipe Out Canada, they're like behind the scenes.
I forgot about that.
Complain, yell, like they feed you lines. Luckily, I'm already like tight and bright, but a lot of the other just like average people, they like help them, and they're like they don't let you see a live clock of your time because they're like, we might stop the clock and the time so that we can like adjust stuff.
Whoa.
Actually, I remember just one more thing here. I actually, and on that same line, I remember a friend of mine who was on like The Last 10 Pounds. There was some Canadian show.
Oh, Last 10 Pound boot camp.
Yeah, something like that. And I remember her telling me that when they went to video, they didn't even use her kitchen. It was someone else's kitchen.
Yep.
Either that or they put food that wasn't even food that she had in her cupboards, in there. So it wasn't even the food that she ate. It wasn't, I actually don't think it was her kitchen.
Yeah, it was all staged.
So anyway, it's
basically. So this authentic, I love how authentic we're being right now, and I love that yoga is about connecting with your body and stuff. So I hope
this is what we're about.
It's awesome chatting with you guys too. It makes me excited just talking with you for like knowing people like you are out there. I really want to hang out after this pandemic again.
Can we please? I would love to meet and hang out with you. I just want to give you a big hug after COVID.
Yay! Yay, Bitcoin!
Yes,
I know, and then we'll talk about securing your financial future at that time.
That would be great, and finding me a husband.
Sounds like you have another sponsor there.
Oh my goodness, we can actually be like, we could go dating together because like we could be wingmen for each other.
Can we please?
I'm
quite the introvert. Amazing. I'm quite the introvert. You can use your community because I don't have much of a community, and then I can help and we can.
You can show them that I'm like can be normal too because they do that too.
Absolutely. People will look at us and be like, are they dating? Are they not dating?
Hey, yeah, they're perfect for each other.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
And you look really organized. I see your notes over there on the wall.
Oh, thank you. They're just little mantras that I've kept up for like 5 years. They're like sliding glass doors.
I like that, Hero, actually, where you're placed right now in your place, because last time with the interview, I think you had your doors closed, and it was kind of cool because you could see Hero's thought pattern.
Yes.
It's right behind his head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, totally. Even though they're like, again, like 5 years old, I've kept it up.
Yeah, but whatever.
Nice. But yeah. No, but thank you, Bill.
I'm going to show you the authentic reality.
Oh, wow.
What? Oh, you're in a garage.
Wow.
Oh, look at the
Why is
oh my God. Oh my God, so cute.
But anyway, see, hide it for reality. I'm like, look, I'm in a studio, I tell you.
But it's amazing, though. Well, yeah, and even like here's my kitchen counter, right? Like you can see I've got dishes and I've got green powder and my journals and stuff.
Fine. Since we're all doing this, there's my ring light. I did it. I showed my coffee table book, finally.
You did it, yes. No sponsors required.
3D.
3D?
Yes, give me some of that. I'm so deprived.
So good to see and talk with you.
Yes.
You too. we can't leave it this long before we catch up.
No,
Yeah,
not at
So
all. Not
I'm
at
in
all.
Calgary right now. I have a big exciting plan for the future now. So I want to have my own studio. So I do plan to start a dance fitness studio. So not dance technical dance fitness. And I'm going to use my personality to kind of be like a Zumba instructor style.
Nice.
Not as I can't sit still yet for some reason, or else I would do more yoga. But
right. I can help you out with that part.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that here we have one more question. Our last question, which seems to be a staple now in our interviews. A very serious question. If you were a fruit juice, what would you be and why?
Wow.
First thing that comes to your mind.
I'm a kiwi guy.
Ah,
kiwi we've had.
Kiwi. I love it. Yes.
Kiwi. Oh my goodness. If I can just blend 100% kiwi in there, that's my ultimate drink.
Oh, I love it.
And it's not to do with the fact of like New Zealand. It's like.
Oh, right. No, I mean, I know they're called kiwis. Is that because they're kiwis grown there?
No, kiwi is a bird. Kiwi is actually the native bird that's from New Zealand.
Yeah, I did not know that.
As did I. Yeah.
No relevance besides it just being a delicious fruit. I mean, I love all fruits like banana, raspberry, put it all in there.
Oh, yeah.
Peaches, mangoes. Oh, goodness.
Loves all fruit.
Give me some of that fruit.
Squeeze
that juice.
I know I'm quite a fruity guy, aren't I?
And I love that though, because you know what, the world needs people like you and myself and Rachel, and the fact that the three of us are so interconnected in so many different ways just shows that the world is really small and that this is all gonna be a seed. We're planting a seed, really. Not in a sexual way, guys, but we're planting seeds for
no one thought that. No, I'm just kidding.
We're planting seeds for future relationships with each other. And again, like, I want to hear more about your business concept and if it's going to be in Alberta or online or in BC and stuff. Because I've got a lot of background in management of studio development and all that stuff.
Me too, my friend. Yeah,
and Rachel does as well. So keep in touch with us about this. We would love to have you back for a second part if you'd be willing.
Yes.
Well, and I'll let you know about the doctor about generational trauma, because that's something that literally came through this morning, which is quite exciting.
Yes.
And
yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I did.
Just that experience is worth more than any views and stuff.
Yes. Oh my God.
I did wear some tight and bright spandex for you.
Oh my God, look at those hamstrings, girl.
I know. I'm more impressed. Like, where's that coming from? Is that hers?
Right?
Is that a prop? Oh my goodness. Nice.
Oh my God. I love it. It's been, Spandy, really, I mean this this super from my heart. Like, it's so great to meet someone like you virtually, and I really do mean it sincerely. I can't wait to meet you in person and get to know you better as a friend and as a human being. And thank you so much for your sincerity and being part of our podcast. And I know this is just the beginning for future friendships and communication. So
yes, thank you so much. I love it. I'm so happy to meet you and so happy to finally talk to Rachel.
I know. Because actually, I could just keep going and going, but like I would do some stints where I'd have to work in Alberta, and then I'd meet up with Spandy. I think it was a couple times we met up while I was there.
I think, in Calgary we met, and in Vancouver.
And in Red Deer once.
And maybe in Red Deer. So thank you. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad. We'll all keep in touch. And no one's really moving around much, but no question if I'm in Vancouver. It'd be so great to do an in-person.
Or Vernon, the Okanagan.
Yeah, you're Vernon now. That's right.
Yeah.
It looks so beautiful there. So yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Let's keep in touch.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Because this was phenomenal. We can't wait to share this, and hopefully in the next couple days I'll be able to get my editing chops in gear and get it out.
Yes.
And I'll let you know.
And also, if you are listening to our podcast, I always like to kind of say this now, like, feel free to reach out to us by our social channels or gettingjewcy@gmail.com if you want to be on the show, or if you have an interesting topic you want to discuss, just reach out to us, and we'd love to at least get to know you and know what you're about. So please feel free to reach out to us, whether it's through us or through Spandy or any of our guests. Please, we would love to know what inspires you to be exactly who you are in the world.
Love it.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I love it. I love like the way you're talking, even like the planting the seed and the friendship. It's like so heartwarming. It's like, I don't want this to end. It's funny. You're like,
that's me. That's me.
I agree.
It's like, I guess like when we hang out, we have to do yoga together, and we still have to be disciplined. We can't just talk for 10 hours.
Or we can.
I mean,
I love it.
On my deathbed, I'm gonna be like, am I gonna be mad that it's like I should have done more? That pose, or I should have hung out.
Right. I'm gonna channel my inner Spandy Andy when I go and teach my Pilates class and yoga class in 45 minutes. I'm so excited to channel this energy from this conversation. So thank you for starting my morning.
Thank you. Exactly. Starts my day with some positivity. I love it.
Yes. Absolutely.
Great chat. I'll be looking for it online, and we'll keep in touch.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure.
It'll be online very soon.
Love you. Thank you.
Stay safe. Stay healthy.
These are my glasses.
So much love. So much love.
In the homes.
Yes. I love that. Shalom.
Bye.
Okay,
bye. Or hala.
Take care.
Bye, Spandy. Oh, and you're still on. Hero actually left. Oh, great.
Okay, all right. We'll talk soon, okay?
Okay, we'll talk soon. Thank you so much.
Bye.